Welcome to the Wild 7 Studios backlot. Today's a fun one. We're going to be testing out one of the longest vintage lenses we have in our arsenal. Stay tuned to the end to see the results. Welcome to the Wild 7 Studios backlot. If you're new here, this channel is dedicated to all things indie filmmaking, feature filmmaking, vintage lenses, tips, tricks, all of that stuff. We have lots of tutorials, behind the scenes videos, lots of good stuff for you. So if you're new here, make sure to subscribe if this is your first time catching us. Really helps us out. We're gonna be coming out with a lot of really fun videos up pretty soon. But today is a fun one. I always love playing with lenses, especially vintage lenses. And I got my hands on one of the most interesting and unique lenses in my whole kit. And that's gonna be this bad boy right here. This is the Minolta Rokkor. Let me try to get it in focus. Okay, let me try to get in focus. He wants to get me in focus. But this bad boy right here is the Minolta Rokkor 500mm f1.8. This one is a fixed aperture lens. There's no way to adjust the lens. It just comes how it is. Let me open it up for you so you guys can see through it. Take the adapter off. Hopefully don't break anything there. But yeah, that's the lens itself right there. This thing is huge as far as lenses go, vintage lenses. It's really big, almost needs a lens support. I don't know how comfortable I feel putting it on my FX6 without a lens support. It's a little heavy there on the flange. So long lenses are kind of a little bit of a debate. This, without a doubt, I don't know anybody who would not call a 500mm a long lens, but what makes a long lens and what doesn't make a long lens? What makes a wide lens? What's like what I would call a normal lens? I personally have my own kind of philosophy towards this. I think what you would call wide lenses are like 16 to 28, you know? Your standard lenses are gonna be 35mm, even 32mm to like 58. Then your telephoto lenses are gonna be anything above that. And the way I personally kind of quantify, like, is a lens long? Would I call it longer than like a normal lens? The way I would do it is, would I go handheld with that lens? That's to me, would I go off of a dolly? Would I not go on a Steadicam? Would I feel comfortable shooting with that lens handheld? And I have some 85mm and I absolutely would not. On a full frame camera, it's pretty tight and you don't have a whole lot of room for error, so the motion feels awful. On the opposite end of the spectrum, you have super wides. I would say like 15 to like, I guess there are like 3mm lenses and 4mm lenses. Those ones are goofy. Those are kind of funny lenses. They're for specific things. You know, if you ever watch like The Revenant, Chivo loves super wide lenses. He shoots on those a lot. And a lot of this stuff is handheld. They're just shooting without steady cams and gimbals and things like that. Because the lenses are so wide, everything feels nice and smooth. But today we're going with the longest lens I have in my set, my Rokkor set. I have a set of Minolta Rokkors that really covers a lot of focal lengths. The widest one there is a 17mm, and it's not a 17mm fisheye like my Takamore. It's a 17mm. I don't want to say zero distortion because there's just a tiny amount of distortion at the end, but it's a pretty straightforward, nice wide angle lens. Really, it's a fantastic lens. And then on the opposite end of that spectrum, I have this 500mm right here, this bad boy, that is a ton of fun. But I wanted to take it out and test it to see, is this thing useful? How often can I use it? What am I gonna use it for? In reality, Minolta made these for like sports photographers, nature photographers. These weren't for everybody. These are very much specialty lenses. They're f8. They're fixed. That's a fixed aperture. You can't open it, you can't close it. It is what it is. F8 is not great if you're inside. It's pretty dark. So these are definitely made to be outdoors. You know, it's an outdoorsy lens. So I took this lens to an airport to test it out. And I shot some planes. It was a nice sunny day, real hot day here in Southern California. We get hot winter days. It's one of the blessings of living here. But I played with this lens and had a lot of fun with it. Part of the reason I wanted to get into this and this whole video and even make this one is because I have a fascination with long lenses and some long lens shots in films. Anyone here around Wild 7 Studios knows I'm a massive Tom Cruise fan. I love that guy. I love the movies he makes. I think Tom Cruise is the man. If you're out there, Tom Cruise, you are the man. All the way back to Top Gun. And specifically in Top Gun, I want to talk about the intro scene with all the silhouettes there on that aircraft carrier. All those are really long lens shots. They were shooting with just a bunch of telephoto lenses, and to me it looks so cool. It's very like dramatic. It's very, you're far away but you're seeing it, you know? You can only get so close on those things before it starts feeling weird and invasive and almost cartoony. And I feel the way the intro of the Top Gun movies was shot by I don't know the cinematographer at the moment, but it was directed by Tony Scott, the first one. Excellent work, amazing stuff, really huge fan. They did a great job with it, and it's very cool. So, I do love the opening of Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick. Those long lens shots are insanely cool. But my favorite long lens shot ever of all time came in a film that came out about 15 years ago called Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy, directed by Thomas Alfredson and shot by the great Hoyt van Hoytema. So in that film, it's a story about spies looking for a mole within their organization. It's a lot of backstabbing, it's a lot of symbolism. It's a great, amazingly shot film with an insane cast. Everyone should go see the movie and then watch it again, because I guarantee you the first time you're not going to enjoy it as much as you will the second time. It's one of those films that gets better every time you see it because so many things become a little bit clearer. But one of the most amazing shots in the film, and I don't normally do this, I'm not big on spoilers, but if you are going to watch the film, I would suggest skipping on the next chapter now because I'm going to have a little bit of a spoiler. But one of the characters who they find working with the mole, they begin to question him, and he doesn't quite realize he's caught yet. He doesn't exactly know what's going on. So the main character, who's been assigned to search for all these traitors, and especially this mole, is the character George Smiley, played by Gary Oldman. They're out on a tarmac. It's really far away. I don't know how far away they were, but they were very, very far away. And he's walking with that gentleman. They've been let out of a car. The car that they were let out of drives away. So they're there, and they're just slowly walking on the tarmac. And Gary Oldman starts to reveal what he knows to this person. And he starts revealing more and more, and you could see the person just getting more and more nervous. As he's getting nervous, a plane flies behind them. So you have two people, my thumb will represent them, and then an airplane behind them. The airplane is very, very far behind them. But as we know, long lenses compress images. So something far away is going to look like it's a lot closer to the subject than it really is. So you have these two men, and they're walking towards the lens, and as they're walking, one of them is finding out his fate is getting bleaker and bleaker and bleaker. And as everything's coming down on him, these propeller blades from the plane are pushing closer and closer and closer and filling up the frame. It's an amazing shot. It's amazing visual storytelling. It's really, really fantastic. Go watch that film. Absolutely study it. It's a great, great film. After that film came out, Christopher Nolan started working with cinematographer Hoyt van Hoytema. I believe that film probably had a lot to do with it. I don't know for sure, but if anyone out there knows Chris Nolan, ask him and find out for me if he's a fan of Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy. I would be hard-pressed to believe he's not a fan of that film. Some other recent filmmakers who people are big fans of that are really quite fond of using long lenses are the Safdie brothers. And they use long lenses in a really interesting way. One of the things that long lenses do, as opposed to wide lenses, so cinematographers like Chivo, and when I mean Chivo, I'm saying the nickname for Emmanuel Lubezki. He's known by his nickname Chivo. So if you ever hear me say Chivo, that's who I'm actually referring to. But he likes these wide lenses, so when they move, the movement is smooth, it's serene. If you've seen any of his work with Terrence Malick, some of those shots are very beautiful and they're very calming and relaxing. Telephoto lenses are the opposite. Since it's tight and far away, any movement, any shake, anything like that is going to be jarring. When you watch my test footage, a lot of it shakes. And that's just, it was impossible for me to not get it to shake. We were filming outside. It was slightly windy. It wasn't like a very windy day, but just slightly windy. But everything this lens feels, any of the slightest vibration of the lens, it just appears massive on the image. It really blows up and you can really see it. So it gives you this frenetic, really kind of claustrophobic feel. And the Safdie brothers have used it to amazing effect in both Good Times and Uncut Gems. I'm a fan of both those films. They're really great films, and they really know how to use the telephoto lens. There's definitely a lot of downfalls to shooting on long lenses. Some of the biggest ones when you're filming, especially like narrative stuff, is you need space, and you might not always have space. With this lens, let me see what's the close focus on this lens. The close focus on this lens, it is telling me, is 4 meters away, which is about 12 feet. So it's a little over 12 feet. So this lens does not get focus really close. So even in a standard bedroom of like a normal American house, this lens is not going to be able to get focus inside that room. You're just too close. And if you ever even frame up with this lens, you'll realize that you're going to want to be like 100 to 300 to 400, 500 feet away from your subject. This lens is crazy. It's definitely one of the longer lenses I've ever played with. If you're using standard long lenses like 85 millimeter, 135, those are more traditional, those are more manageable, but some of those even have long close focus. I've used some 135s that the close focus was 6-7 feet away. That's not the easiest to use in a lot of environments. Another thing with those kinds of lenses, they tend to be used better on a tripod. You're not going to want to go handheld with them because any movement is going to be very dramatic. It's going to show a lot. So if you stick to sticks, it's always going to be a lot better. And then just a big one is the light. A lot of the faster lenses don't necessarily open, or excuse me, a lot of the longer lenses don't really open up, and they're not really fast. I have a couple 135s that open to 2.8, and then a couple that are f4. This specifically is f8. That's not fast at all. I can't use this inside unless I really light the place. It's really kind of designed to be an outside lens. And it's definitely got its place in my kit. I can see myself using it. But before we get into this review, I'll be honest with you, I don't see myself pulling it out all the time, you know? It's the kind of lens that I could see myself using once a year, once every 2 or 3 years even, you know? If you're gonna start a kit, this is definitely the last lens I would suggest you get in the kit. I'd even go with a fisheye, like one of those extreme wides I was talking about before getting one of these. For those extreme wide ones, you can get a lot of music video work. There's a lot of stuff that likes that, a lot of commercial work that love those kinds of looks and those lenses. So you're better off going that way to start. So just a little tip from me, if you're gonna start building a vintage lens kit, aim for wider lenses as opposed to telephoto ones, because they'll be more useful to you. But yeah, like I said earlier, we took this bad boy out for a test. I went to Cable Airport in Upland, California. It's this beautiful little town at the mountains of, in the Inland Empire, the San Gabriel Mountains. There's a family-owned airport out there that's really pretty, really nice airport. They have a lot of areas that they allow the public to film in and kind of just hang out in. So you get a lot of like airplane enthusiasts hanging out there. It's very mom and pop. It's a very sleepy little Route 66 town. I had a lot of fun out there shooting. It's a great place, great time, but enjoy. Take a look at this, this test video I put together. As you'll see in the video, some of the shots are in focus, some of them are out of focus. It's not the easiest to get things that are moving in focus several hundred feet away. I did the best I could, but I'm also not an AC, and I am a professional camera operator, but I'm not an AC, and I didn't quite have the proper equipment on me. So forgive some of the buzz shots, but enjoy this video.
I shot this quick time lapse of the full moon last night, decided to add this in here as well. I tracked this using the Lumos app to see where the moon was going to be moving. And I set it up so that the moon would go through my shot. Basically the bottom here all the way through the top. I think it came out cool. It took about 20 minutes and I sped this shot up to 3000%.
All right, as you can see, yeah, there's definitely some shaky shots in there. You can see a lot of the movement. You can see how compressed the shots were. For the majority of the shots I shot those planes, I mean, I was 500 feet plus away. I was really, really far away. A lot of them, they're in the air. They're a quarter mile, half a mile away from me, coming towards the lens, flying away from the lens. A lot of really great footage in there that you can kind of see what this lens can do and what it can't do. And I would definitely say it can't do a lot. You know, it's more a specialty lens than an everyday lens. So definitely consider it if you are gonna buy one. But if you do wanna buy a super long lens, a telephoto lens, drop a comment below. I wanna hear which one you're picking up. I'm always fascinated by people's purchases and what they're getting into. So give us a comment below. We have some cool videos coming out really soon. I got one on restoring a vintage lens that was inspired by a hawk. Yes, a bird inspired a lens purchase of mine, and we're gonna go into that next week. Thank you for joining us again. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.